Yo ho Joe! Merry Christmas! This is Sleigh Bell Steve, jangling sleigh bells, of course. These aren't keys that I just pulled out of the keyhole to impromptu open the show in a festive manner. Oh, what am I saying? Who am I kidding? Look, it is festive. It is Christmas 2022. There is a tree behind me, fully decked out, lit up. I'd like to say there are presents beneath it, but since we are recording this on the 23rd of December, yeah, Santa hasn't visited just yet. However, there are two reindeer just bucking, ready to spring onto the scene. Let's put a bridle on them and rein them in. It's Paul Deadly Pencils.
Ho, 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 I got a machine gun now.
The love and scoop full of Rob.
Ho, 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 ho. I've been bridled. I'm no longer
I nearly shot my
unbridled.
coke up my nose.
You're listening to episode 281 of GI Joburg, the best and worst of 2022. We decided that the very festive theme of this episode would be to give a rundown of our very favorite things that this last year has yielded, both within the channel and the podcast and without, like our favorite video games of 2022. Whoa! I don't think I have a dog in the race, but I know someone who does. Paul, how are you doing on this fine evening?
Oh,
How you
mine
doing,
is
Paul?
fine. I'm good, guys. It's so nice. It's like I've had a week. I'm not having no expectations. I'm just so relaxed. I'm super chilled. I've been mixing. That's what I've actually been up to as I've been mixing music. I've been DJing my brains out. I think I'm driving Celia crazy. Both my neighbors are away on holidays, so I'm fucking pumping tunes like crazy. How are you
Never heard
guys?
of headphones?
Yeah, but I don't want to always mix in my headphones, man. Sometimes you
I
just
know,
want to
obviously
feel
not,
that
you
thump,
can't
that
feel, you need to feel that energy.
boots,
That's how you
boots,
know it's
boots,
really
and pants
working.
and boots. Exactly. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no,
And I'd like
I'm
to send a
doing
warm
good.
greeting to the Berg Force.
Oh,
Ryan Sweeney just chimed in by saying, best thing in Joburg this year is the fact that you guys get to see each other. Yes, sir.
Oh,
It
yeah.
that's
was
so true.
true
That's the
relief.
best thing. And yeah, see you guys next year, I guess. 282.
Rob, you were going to say, how are you
That
doing
was
on
a
this
good
fine eve,
episode.
sir?
I'm doing quite well. It's a little bit warm tonight, but otherwise, I'm enjoying the company of legends of the Bergforce and of the Burgers, the Varleys and the Towners. Yeah, we're all here
Who is
together.
the meat and who is the buns?
Hey, hey. And how are you,
Ooh.
Stephen? Hey,
Oh,
hey.
I just got back from a vacation in a beautiful beach getaway spot called Hermanus, about
Hermanus.
90 minutes out of Cape Town.
Woo.
And let me just say, guys, when you are on a beautiful beach surrounded by 8s, 9s, and a couple of 10s, you just got no time to take in the scenery when you're busy hosing off a swim nappy that's just soiled with shit. So welcome parenting. I'm glad I'm not distracted by the beautiful bikinis swanning about because that would drive me crazy. Yeah, exactly. Hey, you're so cute. I mean, your kid's so cute. Yeah, look, guys, it's hardcore, man. Like, I'm easily distracted, but I suppose not when there's a poopy nappy around. So yes, Elliot was my savior from the path of distraction. But it was great, guys. I've oftentimes done that holiday with my family, so it was just soaked in nostalgia. All the smells and sights and vistas and the sea itself, like the spot, the various things that we would always traditionally do, just doing it through a new lens of having this little kid who is adamant he wants to commit suicide on the sharp rocks abutting the ocean. Thanks a lot, kid.
Oh,
I mean, you dare not have a single beer past your lips because you need to be on vigilant duty, my friends. He's dragging you off like along this sheer seawall of rocks with massive, massive breakers of white water smashing up against them. And he's like, hey, as long as my dad's hanging on to my hands, I'm safe. Yeah, right. I'm busy skricking my brains out, which means freaking out to those of you who don't speak Afrikaner. Oh, yes.
Yeah, the 44
Yeah.
of you that apparently do.
Stressful is what it is, but it was the first time I'd ever gone away on this particular trip and felt sad that it was over. Not that I'm
Oh.
sad to come back to Cape Town. Cape Town is where it's at, but I guess it's mixed with that kind of emotion that it is a stage that I was looking forward to for much of this year, and we've now passed through it, and now it's like the highlights reel is starting to become shorter and shorter and shorter. Like, but hey, that's how these things go. And I mean, the thing about December and these particular days themselves, like days that pass by during the rest of the year are so like inconsequential. But every day in December seems to be like, oh, what did you do on the 22nd? What did you do on the 23rd? What did you do on the 24th? So I'm kind of precious about like every single moment right now. But there is nothing better or nothing I'd rather be doing right this minute than sitting here talking about toys with my two best birds and a
Yes,
whole
toys
lot
and
of other
joys.
friends in the chats. So yes, that's me.
Hell yeah.
Cool,
dude.
man. It sounds like really bittersweet, but I feel you on that. And it's also cool
Yeah.
that you get to stop and smell the roses a little as well. So, and I get that. I totally get that.
Smell the roses, right? And the baby shit.
And the poopies.
Love it. Mhm.
So,
We have a topic, but I'd like to address something that you guys got into last week when I was in absentia. You guys were talking about some weird and wonderful things in GI Joe, and the incinerator's equipment came up. The fact that he has this like flame ball launcher,
Flame
sort of
baller, yeah.
teched out flame balls.
What's
Now
up with that?
that catapult saw a few reuses. The mold found its way onto the Cobra Parasite for some reason. It had a catapult launcher on the roof. I seem to recall those bombs and the catapult finding its way into the Sergeant Savage line. I think it was the Arctic Stormtrooper that had that catapult, but like he fired blue, whatever you would call them,
balls.
orbs of balls of fire, balls of ice, whatever. And maybe I could be misremembering, but maybe it found its way into Street Fighter accessory kit. Someone, maybe Guile.
Probably
I'm probably
Guile, like one of the movie
Probably
Guile
Guile.
sets or something. Yeah.
So many Guiles. But I have that catapult launcher, and I lost or didn't lose. I gave away or traded away my incinerator early doors. But how do I have that catapult launcher? Well, it's the path least likely, boys. What is weirder than a flamethrower coming with a catapult launcher? Well, a heavy machine gunner like the Saw Viper coming with it. Because yes, folks, the European release of the Saw Viper doesn't have his saw, doesn't have his bullet belt or his backpack. It came with Incinerator's flamethrower and Incinerator's
What the hell?
catapult launcher. Bizarre. Even
Yes.
the card art was changed to reflect this. And it shows off Saw Viper like crouching over this like very diminutive catapult. Like they've sized down the catapult so that it could fit onto the card, basically. And it's hilarious, man.
It's like he's holding it in his hand.
a-
He's like, boop. Here are
What
my
a strange
balls of fire.
mystery. Eat balls. But you know what's weird about this is like I was never a big fan of this toy as a kid, so I never got it. But David had this figure, and he definitely had the gun. So
The
we
Saw
must
Viper
have
gun.
gotten, yeah. So we must have gotten. They must have done like a reissue of this or something at some point.
Paul, we got both. We got the Euro releases
Ah,
and
there we
the
go.
American
Yeah, that's
releases.
what
So
happened.
like you
Yes.
either got the one with the official equipment or the weird and wonderful, now sought after European equipment, like Rock
Oh,
Viper
gosh.
with Snake Eyes V4's
Which
grapple
is
launcher
just
and gun.
sad.
It is a bit sad.
It
but
is
hey,
sad
look,
that people want these weird things.
it creates variation, and can you blame them? I
No,
mean, the
for
fact
sure.
that they
Collectability.
carried unique card art, that's
I
really
suppose that's
cool.
the draw. Yeah, that's the lure.
I like the European Range Viper card art better than the United States one. Like, it takes a very literal approach to his helmet. It looks like the action figure, which I always applaud. I'm like, I want the card art to look like the toy that I'm getting. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yes,
more
no, that
accurate
makes
way.
sense.
So, Stephen,
Yeah.
Chasing 80s Toys in the comments mentioned watching Cobra Claws Are Coming to Town. What is that? Do you know what that is?
Wasn't it the episode where Cobra shrink down their entire army and
Oh,
go
Yes.
into
Lord.
gift boxes that they then hand deliver to Joe HQ, and
Yep.
then they burst out and lay
Oh,
waste
no.
to GI Joe, but like micro-sized. And
That
doesn't
And I
is-
do.
does
And
Polly
Polly
save the
becomes
day?
a giant. Yes.
Brilliant.
And
Oh,
Polly becomes
I remember
giant,
this
yeah.
episode. It actually,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
It's cool. It's actually a cool Christmas episode.
But thanks for the shout out, Chasing 80s. That is a great, great episode, particularly if you are feeling festive. Stick that one on the DVD, or you don't even have to. Check it out on YouTube. I think it's
Yes.
available. Yeah, good times,
Must
good
be.
times. Gents, should we get into our first round? Because we've got quite a few categories.
It's quite
for
a
this
list,
episode.
yeah. Yeah.
The first one focuses kind of internally. And it's always interesting to gauge from you guys because we were in it, so we probably have a good opinion. And yet at the same time, these podcasts tend to become a blur. So anything could happen. Guys, if I was to ask you what your favorite episode that we recorded this year was of the podcast, mind blowing.
Wow.
Paul, what would you say it was?
It's actually something that happened quite recently.
Mhm.
And please, this is not to like say that any of the other episodes weren't as great, but the one that we did with Buttface 69, that
Hmm.
was 279, was an awesome episode. I really, really enjoyed it. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that. I think a lot of guys really dug that.
Well, when do you get the opportunity to really geek out and ask all your nerdy questions about GI Joe aircraft to an actual military aviator?
Yeah.
So this isn't a slight on any of our very esteemed guests, and there have been a few. I've got a list that I'll rattle off in a minute.
And of course,
to
to all
have-
the other episodes where it was just us on. I mean, that's no shade against us being on our own and trying to talk to each other instead of,
Touche, Rob. You guys have become more unpredictable with age. So I now no longer am like, oh, I know which way this conversation's going to go. You do throw some curveballs. Speaking
yeah.
of, Paul, you
Whoa.
managed to, in the dying moments of your like rattling off all the flamethrowers in GI Joe, you managed to hit on Ice Cream Soldier. But there is a flame trooper that you missed. You named Blowtorch. You named
I
Ice
knew
Cream
it after
Soldier.
the epised. Yeah.
You
Oh,
did.
who is it?
You named Charbroil.
Charbroil, yeah.
Who did you miss?
And I keep, I need to really like stop getting this character's name wrong, but I'm gonna get it wrong, and I'm setting myself up for failure. I keep calling him Burnout, but it's not Burnout. It's Blastoff.
Very good. He got
Mega
there.
Marines.
Your favorite subset, the
Wow.
Mega Marines.
Yes.
Very good. But I mean,
Well,
Blastoff, he looks like a scuba diver. He has the code name of an astronaut, and he has a flamethrower speciality. So anything goes.
Totally missed that. I was like, facepalm. Yeah.
So before I get on to Rob's favorite podcast episode of 2022, I'm just going to name check our guests of this year. In
Yes, and we've had a few.
233 in January, we kicked things off strong with the one, the only Hooded Cobra Commander 788. Then on 241, we had the three fellas from Talking Joe. I just got them to chat with me impromptu after we recorded one of their podcasts. They stayed on, good sports that they are, and we just chatted Joe, talked Joe, Talking Joe with Talking Joe. In 256, we had Joe Mauler giving us some fascinating insights into toy
yeah.
production, into the way he played, into his ideas for what the HasLab, his tank, should have been like. In 259 and 260, we had the creators for the International Backyard of this year, Seconds to Midnight, unforgettable joint venture with a number of contributors and all good friends of mine, of ours, of the channels. Ryan Sweeney joined us on 266 talking about Joe's in their off time. Hans Chow opened our eyes to some amazing toys that we had never really considered in in episode 267. In 272, we had Mark van Leeuwen and Ronald Hoff talking about their play motion release of this year called Coiling the Commander. Awesome stuff. The Universal Toy Collector, aka Stu, joined us talking about his playtimes in 274. In 277, we had Darren the Railroad, Darren Cobb himself, aka Santa Claus, I believe. He joined us to talk about World Enemy Number 1, of course. Yeah, the Battle Action Force comic. And then, as you mentioned, Paul, Buttface 69 was on 279, talking jets. Thank you, one and all. If I missed anyone, then I am an idiot because I just do not do enough show prep. But I think it's the exhaustive list.
Well, we did so many episodes this year. It's easy
Absolutely.
to.
I adore having other people on because honestly, I talk way too much.
Oh,
That's true.
I hadn't
It's true.
noticed.
Robbie, tell me, your favorite episode of the podcast didn't have me in it, right? Right? Don't let me
Weirdly
down.
enough, actually, it didn't have you in it, but I mean, it just worked out like that because you decided you didn't actually want to watch this amazing movie that we watched called Mega Force. That was my absolute favorite episode. I was glad I got introduced to this movie. I think it's a fantastic film. I
That's
had a lot
right.
of
We
fun.
also had Gaz.
We had Gaz on there as well.
Didn't feel I
yes.
need to mention him because, yeah, absolutely.
always
Gaz was
on.
in the mix and Darren Cobb.
Absolutely. And yes, this is a fantastic movie. It definitely feels, I mean, admittedly, they themselves admitted that it was meant to be a GI Joe concept film originally. And it's an absolutely fantastic movie. It uses all the special effects of the 80s to their absolute maximum, like the comedic value, the fun factor. And it was just fun to like actually like sit down and talk with a bunch of people who really love this film and have enjoyed this movie for most of their lives and discover it for myself. You know, so
This dude.
I thought it was an absolute blast.
Yeah, the lead
There's-
character flying his motorcycle. What a delight.
It's fantastic, and Stephen, I encourage you to watch it next year.
I think I tried finding it, but I mean, short of actually paying for it, I couldn't find any like free avenues of watching it.
We
So
will
clearly
watch it
We
together.
will hook you up.
We will hook
Yeah.
you, hook you
Yeah,
down, or
yeah.
slap you on the ground, push you all around.
Listen, it's no Kickboxer 5, but
Oh man,
Whoa.
awesome. Sorry, in joke, guys. We watched Kickboxer 5 while Paul was in Cape Town, or just we stumbled onto it
Okay.
late night TV style. And we were like, this is totally filmed in South Africa. And all these guys have the most thickly accented South African drawls. Like, yeah, bro.
The
we're gonna
trolls are so
gonna
South
kill
African.
him now.
Hey, kick that trolls.
So I thought I would really enjoy listening back to our hardcore expose on the core. Where we spoke about basically the O-ring core figures from 86 through till I suppose 1991. But guys, I think I'm more in favor with that time you and I, Rob, talked about how we used to play with our Star Brigade figures, which was episode
Ah.
257.
Of course, the nostalgia factor, you know,
Of
broke Steven in.
course.
Of course.
Yeah, look, the core one was fine and well, but it felt like we were just kind of offering mini reviews on the highs and lows of the line. Whereas 257, okay, we spoke a bit about the bonkers story that the copywriters on GI
that
Joe
they
at the time
tried to
were.
come up with.
I mean, where was that going? It went nowhere. It came from nowhere, but they decided to have a go at creating this Star Brigade mythology.
Yeah. Which went nowhere, unfortunately. But at least we got a couple of really sweet toys out of the deal.
Yeah, and you and I actually had childhood stories to share. So I suppose for re-listenability, if anyone wanted to know, if you were so inclined to know how we played with the Armatech figures, episode 257 is your baby.
It's your ticket to joy. Space joy.
Your ticket to
Space
smoking pleasure.
joy.
Dude, I was just thinking about Peter Stuyvesant commercials today and how lavish they were.
They were so
they had-
crazy.
They had like film budgets, man. They were on the best slopes, the best hotels, the best fashions, Learjets, like, and then always the glamour shot of someone lighting up. Man, that was a bygone era.
And that was such a
Damn.
movie thing. Remember, you used
Yeah.
to go to the movies, and then they used to like, pop, bam,
slow motion helicopter drop as
So
the alpine
big.
skier takes off in his like massive 90s puffer jacket, purple
Puffing
lilac.
away.
with his goggles.
Awesome. Anyways, I'm blowing off course here. So the next topic, or the next category we had, also focusing on the channel basically, was what YouTube release, what video feature was each our favorites. Paul,
Word.
I'm curious, what is yours, man?
Oh, dude, Seconds to Midnight, man.
Wow. I knew
You
it.
know, but that's I know it's kind of an obvious one, but that was really great. Like all of the preparation and all of the madness and everything to get it right, and just how it all came together. It stuck in my mind as like one of the coolest videos that we've ever done. Never mind just this year. And just having everybody's contribution and the way guys just played along. I mean, I've always felt like this was always created as a way for us to play with toys with everybody around the world. And yeah, this gets me very excited. It's definitely my favorite video production. That
It's
we
hard
have
to
on the
beat.
channel.
It was the perfect storm.
is.
And let's not forget the fact that it formed part of the Cobra Convergence. Was it 6 this year?
Yes.
Yeah. So another initiative spearheaded by HCC 788. And this was an opportunity for everyone in the GI Joburg camp of content creators, of play motion creators, of authors of their own GI Joe movies to come together. And nothing short of a miracle of how sweetly it did come together, because 12 or so people all pulling in different directions, it had no right to be as I suppose as cohesive a story as it was.
Yeah.
It seemed to work, which I don't know. I can't take credit for that. That was just
That's just the magic of it, right? Yeah.
it's a
just all
testimony
came
to
together.
how people get it and how good the individual creators are at telling the story and then handing over to the next guy. I'm very pleased with that. It cannot go unmentioned. So I'm glad you bring it up first and foremost.
Shot, man. Yeah. I mean, like, it's head and shoulders up there with 2 other productions that came out that I suspect you guys might mention. But the fact, listen, I loved Renegades. I absolutely love Renegades. It just felt weird and maybe a little disingenuous for me to kind of say this Renegades thing that Steven and us made, like, is like my favorite, because that's kind of like it's like stroking your own ego, patting your own back, that kind of thing. And but that's not to take any value away from it. I feel like the quality of, for example, like Seconds to Midnight, the fact that I've chosen that over that says that Seconds to Midnight is really, really good. I also really loved Coiling the Commander. So like I thought I want to mention that because I don't want I don't want that to not be mentioned. I think it's really, really great. And I don't want to take the chance on you guys maybe not mentioning it, but I have a feeling you may. So
incredible.
Sorry to put you in the spot. But look at the scene, man. On the screen right now.
Produced by Mark van Leeuwen and Snowcat Ron. Awesome stuff. I mean, all of the stuff is on the channel right now if you missed it. So yeah, that gets a highly recommended from GI Joburg.
So good. So good. Makes me want to play with toys.
As it should. I hope that these things do inspire, because there's no ways for us to make this a weekly short or long, for instance. It just practically it wouldn't work. But if this inspires you to pick up your action figures and further the adventure yourself, well, mission bloody accomplished. Rob,
Hell yeah. That's
how
what
do
we
you
always
top that?
say. How do we top that? Well, we top that by completely and totally and utterly patting ourselves on the back so very, very hard. Paul doesn't want to pat himself on the back, but I really want to pat myself on the back really super duper hard. Because my favorite
self-flagellation, much.
I'm flagellating so hard right now. Was actually our most recent, well, not our most recent, but I mean, it was exceptionally recent. Stephen and I sat down and I joined him for one of his recent vlogs, which he usually releases for members of the channel, and occasionally releases like one for everyone to be able to enjoy. And literally, we just played with our toys. So
jealous
what
of
we were
this.
talking about in Star Brigade episode 257, we literally reproduced that as a video on our channel. Stephen holding the camera and me just doing the action. I think we came up with, but it wouldn't even come up with beats. We were like, this is where this thing is, this is where this thing is. And then from there, get
There's
it
a
on
man.
Monday, guys. Get it on a Monday.
Monday.com, not sponsored.
And we just had fun with it. We just went for it. And I think this is absolutely fantastic. I love that there is a diversity of videos on our channel. There's the super, there's ones where we completely do our best to take our hands out of the shots. We have production music from Paul, it's absolutely
That's
beautiful.
cool.
We have voices from dozens of people who kindly give their voices to our videos and to other people's videos. But here it's just me and Stephen playing. Whatever you hear is in mic. It's on the scene. It's happening in the moment, and it just felt right. It felt like I was 22 again.
And if you wish to watch these amateurs videos weekly, consider becoming a YouTube channel member for only $3 a month.
Hell yeah. But that's what I like. I like that we have the space for that on our channel. It's not just we're encouraging other people to play with their toys. We are literally playing with our toys. We're showing you like you can still do that. You can have fun with the toys. And as I've said in, I believe I did one entire episode. I did 2 episodes on my own this year with our podcast. And then the one episode I went over like, how much I feel, it's really important. Play with the toys, enjoy them, have fun. And we put our hands where our mouths are, and we put it on the channel. And I think I love this video.
Look, if holding a camera and a flashlight is now my license to play with my toys imaginatively in a way that I used to, if I can use the channel as my excuse to do so, I'll do it, baby.
Hell yeah,
This was
dude.
great. This was actually a blast. I'm kind of reliving it right now, and it was absolutely caught up in the moment, as it should be. Like, this was just an action piece. Like, we didn't bore anyone by having a long talk sequence, but we absolutely could have. We could have made this a more
we could have
character
talked
piece.
for minutes on end. But it's just
Which is why, Paul,
setup.
don't feel left out. We still have plans to do, as we spoke about, to have the 3 of us in character do a kind of a zombie GI Joe survival horror.
We all know how much
that's
Mark loves
cool, man.
zombies, so I hope you're going to
This was
enjoy
just
that one, Mark.
this was just to release the pressure in the moment. We needed to do
No,
this for
dude,
ourselves.
I'm glad that you guys are doing that. Like, obviously, I've got FOMO, but at the same time, I'm just glad that you guys are playing with toys and enjoying
Well, hopefully,
it.
and remember, Paul, this isn't just to inspire people who watch the channel; it's to inspire us too. I hope
Yeah,
this
of course.
inspires you.
Yeah, it totally does, dude.
The reality of play motion production is that it's not fun. You're craned over these things trying to suspend disbelief by filming them in a very lavish way and putting them against backdrops and sets that make them look like real things. So you're taking yourself out so much that there isn't really room to play.
Yeah, you're not always in the moment.
Something as crap as Vlog 25. That is raw play. You're really seeing it happen. So yeah, I mean, take it or leave it. It depends on what your taste is. If you're niche enough to come along with us for this ride, then man, you're just as crazy as we are.
Dude, this comment, boom, I'm gonna put on the screen now.
Do it.
From Jimmy Godfrey. Renegades was masterful. Without blowing smoke, Joburg writes the best current Joe narratives going. Honestly, you leave Hammer's modern stuff in the dust. Dude, wow.
We love you, Jimmy.
We love you
Jim
too,
has,
Jimmy. My God,
Jim
dude,
is doing it the right way, guys. He is currently doing a reread of Operation Claymore, which is a Battle Action Force storyline, which was set in the Christmas era of Christmas time of 1985, where the Red Shadows take over this Scottish town, all in Jacobite like redcoat period dress. So like they're masquerading as they're like some reenactment crew,
Oh,
but
that's
actually
great.
they're Red Shadows. The thing that makes it exceptionally bonkers to me is that not only are they in recreation outfits, but they use authentic weapons as well. They're all like firing, I think, flintlock rifles or muskets, and
Crazy.
they're like fighting modern, well-equipped like action force paratroopers with like black powder weapons. It's bonkers, absolutely bonkers. It's not a laser rifle dressed up as a musket. No, 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 no. This is the real deal. Ballsy.
Wild.
But Jim, thank you. That's very, I mean, coming from you is always a huge
That's
compliment
high
indeed. This
praise.
is a very
Yeah.
discerning guy. I mean, he's often called out other creators for being shit or phoning it in. So yeah, it's wonderful to hear that our customizer buddy supreme, Mr. Jim Godfrey, has such kind things to say. Thank you for always being in our corner, sir.
So, Stephen, what else can you say about your favorite video
Wiki
game,
5131.
Vlog 25?
Well, I loved it, of course, but something that I'd always wanted to do
Ooh,
was something that I did as early as Vlog 10.
wow.
Yeah, man. I got to do a side scroller. I got to do
Yes.
the GI Joe video game, but
That was
with
so
toys.
cool.
With toys, yeah.
Yeah.
With like a character select screen and everything. So that was
I
a
love
delight for me.
I loved your arcade one. Yes, this was so great. And then it's the almost no, this is a side one. I also loved your POV shot, your got to get tough one that you
Yeah,
did.
looking, I think it was Vlog
Oof.
6,
Shit, that
where
was
I did a
great.
sort of a rail shooter, just like the GI Joe arcade game. And I mean, guys, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't seen these, no biggie. Like they're not very professionally done. They've got a lot of heart, and they were certainly fun to shoot. I think that's the theme of like what our favorite videos are. It's like what was cool for us as a process, not what was necessarily the best finished product. Hands down, the Renegades for me would have been the best, most polished finished product. But I shit you not, that literally took more than 12 months to just get it the way I wanted it.
Yeah.
Constantly
Steven's a
shooting additional
perfectionist.
scenes. Well, it does crush the joy sometimes. But yes, it then gets high praise from guys like Jim Godfrey. And so it's worth it. Absolutely. But if you want some
sure.
raw fun, yeah, Vlogs 10, 25, 6, they're all actually available for public consumption. Like you don't have to be a YouTube member to access those. I decided to make them tasters, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun to shoot, man. These things are such time capsules for us because this was shot in the backyard of the Airbnb place that Kim and I were staying at in Perth during winter.
Yo.
Like we'll
like a
never
Master
inhabit
film.
that space ever again, but I can always revisit it in this.
Yeah,
crappy
much like we did in
GoPro footage.
Chattanooga.
Yeah, we shot some
yeah.
Hell
things.
yeah.
Dudes,
Mm.
I could kick myself. The other day we had the most amazing hailstorm. It was actually quite brutal. And there was like piles of hail that was still sitting there, and it looked like snow. And the problem is, I unfortunately I was actually on a mission. Celia and I had to go somewhere, and I so badly just wanted to stop and then just grab some of my snow joes and bring them out there and just have a jolt. But yeah, I was hopeful that there would still be hail when we got back, and there was very little of it in the shady spots, but it was already like all but gone. So I know what you mean about the whole time capsule thing, just like capturing that moment, because that's something I so wanted to just play with toys and that and make a video or like a short or something out of that, Anyway, having to run around to get Christmas
Next
gifts.
time, seize the moment.
Carpe
Seize the
diem.
day. Deus
Guys,
ex machina.
Let's keep on trucking. Come on, we got
Yes.
lots of categories
Oh,
to
yeah,
get through.
okay.
Let's get back to the
patting ourselves
toys.
too much in the back.
Enough of that.
Okay.
Enough of that. Now, I think this should be, well, it can't really be in two categories because GI Joburg does receive donations and we love them all to bits. So to pick one of those would be absurd.
Yeah.
But,
Absolutely.
just personally,
We're going to anyway.
I've had wonderful things arrive in the mail from Chris Mewa, from Ryan Sweeney, from Mauler Joe, from Rob, forgive me if I've missed anyone. Perhaps there was stuff from last year that arrived this year. I know Gary V sent some stuff. Amazing. Our pals are very, very generous. And it's, yeah, as I say, it's impossible to pick something out of that. So I'm going to apply a bit of personal criteria and say it's got to be something that I bought myself.
Interesting.
Okay.
So my favorite toy from 2022 has got to be Toxo Zombie.
Whoa.
Yeah, you love that thing.
Love this thing. Didn't expect to love it. I have once again, absolutely no rhyme or reason to love this as much as I do, but I do. I always ignored it because it was like, if I've got a Toxo Viper, why would I want a Toxo Zombie? It's lurid pink and lime green, and it's stupid, and it doesn't come with a gun, really. But it doesn't need to. It's so unique. And not only unique as a character concept within the ARAL run, but also very unique construction. I don't know where else in the line you have a figure that takes an existing mold, doesn't just recolor the mold. No. This is a new sculpt, but it is based wholesale on the old sculpt. It's just, obviously with pockmarks and cracks and scars and chunks missing and exposed flesh. The sculpt is far better than perhaps the color scheme allows it to be. There's a lot more detail in the face, in the gore on the arms than the paint apps show up. And the coloring overall is lurid, but the lurid works. It's so sublime, particularly under a black light, where that neon just sears your eyeballs. There's something quite delicious about that 90s aesthetic when you come around to it. Once you enjoy and luxuriate in the neon, you're like, yeah, absolutely. These are colorful, incredible, interesting toys, and so very of their time.
Sometimes
They're
you just have to
stylish,
go with
man.
it.
Dude, stylish. Just like the fashions of the 90s
Aw,
have now come around to being cool again. Yeah.
Cargo
So too has
pants,
Toxo Zombie.
plaid shirts.
All right, Paul, wise guy. What's your favorite toy of 2022?
Hell
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
man.
So I feel like it's totally worth mentioning. I do want to just mention that in a year where the toys donated to me were a blowtorch and a warthog. Just want to say that this year has been freaking amazing for GI Joe toys for me. But in terms of figures that I actually bought, I really, really love my classified Storm Shadow. I think he is an incredible figure. And I know Paul and Storm Shadow and stuff, but they finally got it right. It hits all the right notes. And Spirit. I know I'm putting 2 in there and I'm being naughty, but Spirit was an awesome purchase as well. Those are my actual, let's be current GI Joe releases, because I know that the classifieds aren't necessarily on the top of your buying lists, guys. But yeah, those were pretty cool for me. And and one of the best toys that I bought this year was my T-Rex from Jurassic Park, the Hammond collection. I can't believe how much I love that toy, man. It's just so cool. But my favorite Joe this year, it's a tricky one, hey, because like I said, I mean, I was donated a blowtorch and stuff, and thankfully I can take those out of the equation, because if I have them in there, it's gonna be madness. But my favorite GI Joe that I bought for myself, it's so difficult, but I really love that Smoke from Mortal Kombat that I got when I was in Cape Town with you guys.
Oh, sweet.
So good.
Recent purchase then. Nice.
Yeah, it's so good. I keep it around with me all the time, and I was pulling it out and playing with it and whatever's at Rage and all kinds of stuff. It's a cool toy. It just works, and yeah, it's just it's a bit of a special toy. I didn't even expect to get it. It's you don't. I didn't plan. I didn't go into this year going, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go and bolster up my MK GI Joe roster. It was just a really welcome surprise at Heinz, and it's got a nice memory attached to it as well. So that is my favorite toy, is GI Joe Smoke. That's what I bought this year. It's my favorite.
Dragon
G.I. Joe
Fortress rates it very highly. He was like, if there's one Mortal Kombat ninja to have, it's Smoke, because he can double as just a general GI Joe Ninja. I mean, his
Hmm.
gray uniform it's sublime. So easy, just slides right in. Rob, toy.
Okay, well, I was trying to upload a video, but
Ooh.
it's not happening because I don't have any.
It's too
I actually
much.
don't have any pictures. So what I will do instead is I'll put my camera on. And so my favorite toy of the year, because actually I
High-tech.
have literally not bought a single toy this year, actually. So it is difficult. I mean, I don't want to single out anything that people have given me, and I appreciate every single one. But like I literally mentioned how cool I think Quick Kick is, and someone was just like, "Here, my dude,
There you go.
Rob."
Thanks, Rob.
From one Rob to another was a Quick
Mm.
Kick, and I
That's a cool
absolutely
shot.
adore this figure. I think he's really cool, and I definitely have. I've started to do things with him that I'll hopefully be releasing soonish. I've done things with him, things you would never believe. Yeah, he's doing stuff. He's having a conversation. Oh yeah,
Yeah, got with the quick kick. I was born.
That's definitely meant to be in there.
Cool shirt, Rob.
Yeah, so I think. Oh, thank you very much. It is actually a FanCon exclusive T-shirt. Oops, there goes my phone.
Fancy.
Witchblade.
That was Witchblade,
Yeah.
yeah, for
Sarah
our very
Pazzini.
first FanCon, Cape Town Comic Convention event.
She seems to be wearing a lot of clothing for Witchblade. I thought all their clothing always like obliterates when the.
Well,
Only in the
it's
90s.
only in the 90s. This is one of the later issues. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I'm very happy to
Okay.
own this shirt. So that's my absolute favorite figure of the year. Is Quicks. I was going to say Quicksilver. It's Quick Kick.
Thick, thick.
MC DJ ACDC says the core figures and how video games affected your playtime were my favorites, and he's referring to episodes. Troy's comment on that video
Yes.
game episode was thumbs up, magnifique, chef's kiss, and then he follows up that comment with, well, minus GI Joburg jacking up the price of core figures after that episode.
Lol. No, look,
Santara-
I can remember that Troy had some lovely things to say about GI Joe video games, but for the life of me, I can't remember the exact content of his comment. So I'd have to go back and reread it.
We're getting
Yeah.
old, man.
You know, as well.
Ooh.
Santara also jumps in with, I was in awe of the Toxo Viper when I first saw it in the store.
Toxo Zombie.
Toxo Zombie. Sorry, my mic was in the way. My bad. My brain filled it in. My apologies, Santara. I was in awe of the Toxo Zombie when I first saw it in the store. Instant purchase. Heck yeah.
Now,
I didn't even want to
something
see.
that I wanted to raise actually. Like the Toxo Zombie is so clever in that it repurposes the Toxo Viper look and writes that as their fate, basically. Like this is the ultimate end to someone who's been in the leaky suit brigade for too long. That's why it's such a shitty assignment. Because ultimately you're going to be moving hazardous waste to the point where you waste away. But like, if you flash forward to the modern era and the zombie viper, like what is that based off of? That's not a viper that's kind of gone bad. It's basically its own unit, its own uniform. Like I don't want to knock that as a concept. It's fantastic, but I think the vintage has a clearer like
They
progression.
knew why it was like that. Yeah, they
Whereas
produced
the
them on
Toxo,
purpose.
I mean, the zombie viper from the modern era feels like they just made these troops.
Zombies.
They
Yeah.
made these zombies. Yeah, they've given them a uniform.
Because we haven't had it before, so we might as well
different
just do it.
They just wanted an
My
excuse to make
worst.
zombies.
Gents, the next category is what is our worst or our least favorite toy purchase of 2022. It has to happen. We have to get these off our chests.
Oh,
I don't
can't wait.
care about this anymore because it seems so long ago. But boy, oh boy, did it get me hot and bothered at the time. I bought a Skyquake, the Euro exclusive Skyquake from Transformers.
My
Oh,
goodness.
gosh,
Beautiful
that's-
toy, but hopelessly packaged. Like, I knew that this guy was going to cock it up, but I gave him a chance, and he did. He absolutely did not let me down. He was an asshole.
He messed it
This
up.
thing was rattling around loose in a box, and it's like gold plastic syndrome, dude. Come on. the nose cone was cracked off, but it had clearly been cracked off and re-glued. So this was clearly a case of buyer beware. This seller is a schmuck. And also gold plastic syndrome. The back end of the jet, so frail, was just crumbling to dust.
Do it.
I tried getting compensation from him. I tried getting compensation from PayPal. I eventually had a partial success. But hey, now I've got a broken toy. I mean,
No one
it's
understands gold plastic syndrome.
It's beautiful.
Not a recognized thing, obviously.
Yes. No, well, no, this guy just doesn't. I mean, he didn't know what he was doing. It's pretty evident.
What a box.
But I decided to roll the dice anyways, and I was punished.
What a box.
I guess it's just a learning lesson, a life teaching lesson. Yeah, and as a result, I'm less and less inclined to buy things online anymore.
Oh my goodness.
I know, weird. What the hell am I going to do? But,
I don't even know anymore.
It's I'm also, yeah. I mean, my collection is groaning. I'm not even in the country that I inhabit, so I need to step away from the purchasing for a while.
Get away.
And this was one of the nails in the coffin. Robbie, why don't you kick this off? Well, after me at least. What was your least favorite toy of 2022?
So my least favorite toys. Well, I mean, I think it's kind of expected. I mean, I'm glad to have them. I'm glad Hasbro is attempting to put out more 3 3/4-inch figures, and I appreciate. Thank you so much, Mola Joe, for giving them to me, and I'm glad I have them. But they kind of are a disappointment. The retro collection, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, like they feel funny. Like I can't get away from that. They just feel funny. They don't feel like the original figures, and I feel like there's been some sort of compromise, that has gone into producing these new retro GI Joes. I mean, I found a place for them. I'm going to be doing things with them, but like it's just like I was so looking forward to Hasbro producing new O-ring figures that I was like, I just was blown away by just the idea that they're actually finally doing that again. They're not just producing a fantastic classified line; they're actually going back. They're taking classic figures and bringing them back to us, and I was just disappointed that they weren't like what I feel when I touch my original vintage Joes. Like the old ones are just so good, and you just feel them up. These new ones not so much.
Some episodes ago, you both were adamant that the O-ring line was going to continue. And I was the dissenting opinion saying, no, guys, it's done. After the Sky Strikers reach everyone, that's it. Cheers.
Well, I hope they can learn from these experiences and produce better figures. That's what I'm hoping. Is that they will learn from it. But I mean, Sky Strike's not out yet, Stephen. I think people are getting it in April.
February? No, some people apparently they're shipping out
already
soon.
Has it. Which,
really?
Which gets me a little bit fumed because, like, guys, I'm going to be in Singapore in a couple of weeks. I could have been the first GI Joe channel to review the damn thing, but
you can't be first with every single new GI Joe toy. You got there first with the Hiss tank transformer.
No, I didn't.
You didn't? I thought you did.
Prime versus Prime. Well, a lot of people beat me to it.
Well, you're the first video I watched, so I think
Chris McLeod got one from Hasbro directly.
I think that still counts. I watched yours first. So.
Oh.
You're the first person I watched who got it.
Arbiter of all GI Joe channels, Rob the Scoop. Paul, your least favorite toy of 2022?
Oh, that's easy. Soundwave. The Studio Series Soundwave is the biggest piece of shit ever made. It is so gross.
To put the listeners in the frame, it doesn't transform into a tape deck.
No, it transforms into a robo poop. Because I don't know what the hell it's supposed to be. And
collapses down into a flat version of Soundwave, doesn't it?
It's so stupid. Yeah, it's just I don't know what it is. It's like a space.
What the fuck were you thinking?
Here's the thing, right?
Why did you buy it?
No, but here's the thing. I was like, I don't mind its transformation because quite honestly, we don't see it transform in the Bumblebee movie. So I'm not quite happy with it not transforming. Like, I know as odd as that is to say, but if the figure's posable enough, that's cool. But that's the problem. The figure sucks with the posability. Like, they've put all the great articulation in the wrong places. He looks like a complete dope holding his gun. He doesn't pose nicely. He's just crap. And I'm so annoyed because I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe that was my whole chip. I mean, my whole like reasoning there was like, okay, I'm gonna get a good like robo mode, and then yeah, that'll be it. And then I get it, and I was like, this is crap. The Ravage that he comes with is better than
I
him.
feel awful. I feel like I've made this worse by actually letting Paul spend time with my masterpiece.
Oh, geez, dude. Yeah, no, that just adds to it. You know what? I should have actually just saved up the money and bought the 3.0 Sound Wave, because that doesn't transform either. But my God, that's an amazing toy. I should have just bought that instead of this piece of shit that I wait. And the thing that bugs me is it's not so much that I wasted money on it.
He really
It's
doesn't
just-
like this.
It's just like shipping. Like when we have to ship stuff, it's like it's such a premium that this piece of shit took space in a box that could have been occupied by nothing and made my shipping cheaper.
A lot of Transformers hate, it seems, but Mark van Leeuwen shoots back with his response. He got both his best and worst toys in the same box.
Oh God, forehead.
His highlight of 2022 was the Mega Hiss Transformers GI Joe crossover. The worst figure was the Baroness that came with it. Here. Paul, you could totally have had my Baroness if I hadn't thrown her down the poop chute.
Well, you said you left her in Australia. Yeah, so
Oh wow,
I'm still
that's what I mean. That's what I call Australia nowadays.
Guys, just because I just need to cleanse this freaking sound wave off my palate.
Jeez. Throw it out the window, Paul. Throw it
I'm
out
so
the
glad.
window.
Yeah, I might give it to a child or something that's running
Do
around.
a wall
outside
test
here.
like Hans does with his figures, but actually
And
throw
then
it.
donate it to a child? Come on.
Yes,
Come on.
break it.
No, my thing is like I my brain is sometimes so funny with remembering stuff just because of how nuts this year is. But I also got Ninja Force Zartan this year, guys.
Isn't that wild?
And
that's
that's
not your
like,
least
I know
favorite
that was a
toy?
donation, but my God, I'm so glad I have that toy. So this is just
It's
me
very
cleansing my
cool,
palette
yeah.
of the Soundwave. I'm so happy I have that toy. You know, at least it makes up for how shit Soundwave is. It's like 50 times over.
Zartan
and my
can
Bat
do no
version
wrong.
too. We can't go wrong with GI Joe toys. Hey, you really can't. Like when you buy like a good GI Joe, every GI Joe you buy is good, even if you buy Wild Boar. You know. Anyway, carrying on. I don't want to like stagnate on this topic, this part of the topic too much longer. The next one.
All right,
is...
dudes. I think the next
Word.
topic will be our favorite films of 2022. Now,
Word.
recording this on the 23rd of December, I absolutely had been given the night off. I was in the clear to go off and watch James Cameron's latest monolith, Avatar 2, The Way of Water. However, my father marches through the doorway with the Christmas tree, and that throws all the plans out the window because then it's time to decorate. So yes, I have not seen it. So my answer has to be like with that notwithstanding. Like basically, like it might all change. Thanks to Avatar 2. But I read a great meme, a great quote that AVGN put up. Well, not AVGN, AG, whatever, AVG, one of those newsy type memers. Basically, like there was a supporting character on Avatar who filmed her scenes 4 years ago. She had thought that the film had already come out and bombed because she'd like forgotten about it. It was like so far in the rear view. And that just gives you some insight into how long James Cameron has been chipping away at this massive iceberg of a movie. So I'm curious. I hope it does reasonably well. Well, I hope it does a gargantuan amount of money because it certainly took a lot of grease, whatever, underwater palaver, motion capture. I mean, is Avatar relevant? This is a topic for another podcast, but like it seems like it was a long, long time ago, and it's been very cool, very cold, this trail since. So yeah, anyway, I've digressed far enough. My favorite film of 2022, Top Gun Maverick.
I knew you were going to say that.
Oh,
It's
good.
both a movie we haven't seen.
Even
Fuck.
the cringy stuff is forgivable
Great.
in a sense, because you're like, well, when you consider the source material, like, yeah, sure, there's some cool jets in Top Gun, but man, there's a lot of cringe as well. This faithfully reproduces all of those emotions, the pulse pounding stuff and the between
Gut-churning
jets stuff. Yeah, exactly, dudes. And getting to see it in cinema also, like, unfortunately, like that experience is come and gone. Paul, you missed out, man. Last week? They were doing an IMAX
Yeah.
screening or something.
Fucking Avatar. That's why. It's because Avatar came in.
I was
Avatar's
legitimately
a Porsche.
thrilled when they kicked off this film. Like, there was a reason why, I think Faltermeyer or was it Kenny Loggins, like, they did a re-record of the themes and Danger Zone. And the director was like, it's very nice, but we're going to go with the old school. You know, you just can't top that authenticity, that absolute kick in the pants of
That energy.
the into fucking hell. I'm going a little bit giddy just thinking about like how well it was to get namby-pamby on you guys. It was emotional to be in the cinema and watch that opening and be like, yes, right in the feels, man, right in the testosterone button.
It hit my testosterone buttons.
It was a thrill ride that delivered. Is absolutely like the GI Joe Ace story. Like that's what you're seeing on that screen. So yeah, as a GI Joe fan, you can't go far wrong with Maverick.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'm glad
How
to
you
hear
gonna
it.
follow that up?
Yeah. What's better than that, Paul? I think
Dude,
whatever we choose is.
My movie viewing this year has been atrocious. I
Why?
haven't watched much, if anything, in cinema
Okay.
really. I haven't watched Jurassic Park, or I mean Jurassic World. I haven't seen the new one, so I can't even tell you what the best film is because I haven't seen Jurassic World and I haven't seen Top Gun Maverick because life.
What was the best movie for you? You know, what did you watch this year that you thought was the best movie you watched?
Dude, and a movie. I'll tell you a movie I really want to watch that I think I will probably put up as my favorite film, if it's not Top Gun. Is Everything Everywhere All at Once is something I'm dying to watch, which looks incredible. And but for me this year, I watched The Batman, and I actually really enjoyed it, even with its shortcomings. But my favorite film this year is. It's not even. I don't even know if it didn't come out this year. Fuck, I don't know. This is how confusing this year has been for me. But it's
Dune.
I watched it this year. Did Dune come out this year? Because I keep thinking it came out last year.
I wanted to put it as my number one, but I checked. I watched it on the 8th of December, 2021.
Yeah, because dude, I watched it again this year, and I'm like, wow, this movie is amazing. Like, I love it so much. I watched something called Barbarian, which is a horror movie, but I really liked the subtext. And I thought it was a very cleverly made film, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Is it going to be on the top of most people's lists? Probably not. Is it going to be on the top of one of the like the top thriller list or top horror list of some people? Yeah, definitely. That was great. I really enjoyed that, and I would say that was probably my best film for the year. To be honest, like that and the Batman. Those were great for me. I can't think of one film right now that really, really blew me away as like, this is an amazing film this year. I mean, the new Scream was average. I enjoyed Thor, but it's certainly not my favorite film of the year. It made me laugh.
Really? I can't even bring myself to watch it.
It was full of lots of stupid laughs, and I actually enjoyed it for what it was. But I don't think it's a good film. That's the thing. Yeah. So that's me. Like, it sounds lame to say that, but yeah, that was me this year.
Funny, Jim does kind of nudge us slightly by asking, was Dune this year or last? Absolutely. I mean, thanks to the pandemic, I think Dune had it kept on getting bumped, didn't it? Eventually, Villeneuve just was like, let it go, man. Let's just see what it does. But these things should have come out in 2020, maybe even earlier. Top Gun Maverick. I remember seeing the core or the Leonard like Maverick sets for sale like
Way before the
beginning of
film.
2020. So the fact that we watched it in 2022, it's astonishing that they kept it back that long. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Robbie, movie.
So my top movie of the year is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh,
Ah,
Okay,
thank you.
good.
Absolute blast from start to finish. And the wild thing is that like I was watching it very soon after my uncle passed away this year. And as I was watching it, I was like, the message of this movie and the philosophy of the characters and what they go through in the film is something that he would absolutely get behind. And it's such a positive overall. It's such a positive outlook on life and on relationships, on everything basically. And it's wild. It's wild from start to finish. The special effects are so good. The concept of the film of like multiple realities is wonderful. It's I can't even describe it. It's just fantastic. You have to watch it for yourself. I don't think it's just the context of how I watched it, but it really is. It's a fantastic movie. It has to be seen. And yeah, nothing for me this year has really topped that. The Batman was pretty good, but nothing
Well, for
came close.
2/3
to
of
this.
it.
2/3. I thought you said half of it, Stephen. Wow,
Everything,
getting softer.
everything after the chase in the rain with Penguin feels
getting
like
rid of
a
that's bad
studio. No, that starts feeling like studio intervention. Like, where's the action set piece? Where are the anonymous guys with guns that Batman can like plow through? We need to see some of that. So they tacked that on. Anyway, I'm curious to see what a Joker musical looks like. That sounds amazing. With Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn? Yes, please.
That sounds mind.
Yeah, that actually sounds really cool.
What is not really cool, and I did actually talk about this at some length, more length than it deserved on the podcast. My least favorite film of 2022, Red Notice. This is an example of the stamp of mediocrity
Oh shit, Joe,
of
that piece of crap. Yeah.
pretty much all Netflix films, but this one is most egregious because it just trades so heavily on not one, not two, but three marquee names, that being The Rock, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds. And they just look so bored and so perfunctory, and it's awful, and it's probably getting a sequel. And why did I waste my time with it? Well, I'll tell you why. Wife. She stick it on, I must watch. Garbage. Ryan Reynolds,
Absolutely.
like, he does parkour, and it's obviously not him. It's a running double, but like, it's so incongruous. It's like, no, this is 10 years at least out of date. Like, it's not fashionable or trendy to like watch some incredible spiraling moves and then like drop below the camera's line of vision, then up pops Ryan Reynolds. Hey, I just did that.
I just did the thing.
Gawk.
You
Yeah.
reminded me of this movie. I forgot I even watched
That's how cuck it is. I also forgot about it.
And Dwayne Johnson like kisses a woman, and I'm like, dude, you can do your like cocky face and you can look badass as Black Adam or whatever you want to do. Don't kiss people on screen. I don't like watching you kiss anyone on screen. It's
weird.
uncomfortable. He's not a
is
romantic
weird.
lead. It is weird
No.
to see him
No.
like make out with
Swoon.
Grim. Robbie,
Dude,
you're worst. Oh, Paul, you have something to add to Red Notice? Weak piss. That's what you need.
Yeah, weak piss. Don't fucking watch that shit. Sorry.
So my worst movie of the year was something that I'd seen the trailer. I was kind of looking forward to it. I'm pretty sure I watched it this year. And it came out this year. But I haven't watched it. The moment the movie started, I was like, this is not going to be a fun experience. And that was Matrix. What's it called? Into the Matrix: Return of the.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen
rubbish.
that yet either.
Whatever the hell Matrix 4 is called. It is absolute awfulness.
Garbage.
It
Control Alt
is-
Delete.
I can't. Like it really does make the original like 2 sequels so much better, because at least they're in the vein of what the original movie was about. You know, they kind of like they took themselves seriously and they took their source material seriously. Well, this sequel is just to be there, and the film itself takes the piss out of the fact that it exists at all.
Now you see,
Yeah.
I can almost give that a pass if they committed to that, Rob.
Yeah, and if it was
Unfortunately,
entertaining, but it's not.
they
They didn't
ultimately
commit
wanted
to
to
it.
end up making it into a Matrix film, you know, in the end. If it
Yeah.
committed to its like being completely metatextual and breaking of the fourth wall, and like it was all
Oh no, then it could have been
just a
absolutely
simulation.
fantastic.
It could have been tongue in cheek and fun, but
It didn't.
then
It was trying to say
yeah.
something, but not be a good movie. Like you can say whatever you want, you know, like say
Say what
have
you
a message
wanna
in your
say.
movie, but may have it be entertaining. Because for me to be able to even get on board with your message or consider your message or your point of view, you have to entertain me at the same time. I was not entertained at all by that movie. It was, to me, it was awful. I mean, I was so excited to see Keanu. I was so excited to see Trinity
Carrie.
again, Carrie, and it was just like it's awful. It's just it's gross. To me, it is
Yeah.
so gross. It's a gross
Well,
movie.
let's rinse ourselves in Paul's least favorite.
Yes, Matrix Resurrection. Thank you, Centaur.
There you
Guys, I'm actually going to echo Steven's statement on Red Notice because
You watched it as well? What the
I
hell's
sadly
wrong with
did.
us?
I don't know. I think
it was just on.
It's probably there's nothing else on. We were just like, oh, it's
There was-
recommended. Netflix.
And it was just so cuck. I actually totally forgot it existed. Like that's how bad it was. It made like
Only
no
South
impression.
Africa this week. Honestly, that is Netflix inflating the importance of its own productions.
Oh, for
Simply.
sure.
That's
There's
how
no
they
ways.
generate their own numbers, and that's how they get digital bums on digital seats.
They're such bastards, actually.
Dreadful.
Awful.
I almost want to keep the negativity train rolling,
With worst TV series.
but we'll go with the best first. Our favorite TV series of 2022. Mine was The Boys season 3. This show can do no wrong. It is amazing. Every episode is an absolute thrill ride. It's so irreverent, and it is the tonic to the superhero fatigue that I think we're all feeling. This
Yes.
show is so great. Fuck, I'm
No.
so glad they have a series 4 in the pipeline.
Yeah, but the irony of that is that The Boys was also kind of that for comic books at its time as well.
Good.
In its time when it was a comic book. So yeah, no, The Boys is great.
I believe the TV show is tamer than the comic book series.
Oh yeah, way
Yes.
tamer.
Oh, way
So
tamer.
there's definitely something to be gained by tracking down an issue or two and
Oh,
just
for
blowing
sure.
your mind.
I mean, I
'Cause
think
the
you can
show-
enjoy them for themselves as well.
The show is stomach churning, and they just seem to keep pressing harder and harder. So it's not for the faint-hearted. Like, be sure to watch it with
No children around.
well vetted company. No children,
Yeah.
no one sensitive, no one squeamish. It's ball busting stuff, man. Literally.
Well, in the Fave series thing for me, so this is where I feel like I've been quite spoiled because there's been some amazing TV series this year. So I'm going to quickly, because I can't just choose one. There's just been too many good ones.
Just rattle off titles.
I'm going to start off with Cobra Kai, which I've been thoroughly enjoying. A series I just now finished off called Midnight Club, which is fantastic. But thanks to the bastardry of Netflix has already been cancelled. So we're not going to get a second season, which is loathsome and freaking annoying.
What's
but
the reason?
anyway, no, it just, it didn't do as well as fucking Red Notice shit did, in its first 2 weeks. That's always their reason. Oh, it didn't get like 1 million people like in the first 2 weeks. Like, fuck off with that stuff. Sorry, I'm very angry. I'm swearing a lot. But yeah, like Midnight Club was amazing. I loved Cobra Kai's offerings, and a series that I know, Steve, you and I are on opposite ends of the spectrum here for this one. I thoroughly enjoyed Andor. I know there's a lot of people that are on. It's a very polarizing show for a lot of people. I thoroughly enjoyed Andor, and I think as I'm going through all of this,
still in prison. Okay. Another episode in prison. Okay.
But the series, I
Jeepers,
think, that
move it along, please.
but for me this year,
Not need to be 12 episodes long. I'm sorry. Fucking hell, I have more things to do in my life. And
But
it's not my least favorite series of 2022, but
Wow.
it's pretty
wow,
close
that's
to the bottom.
insane.
Yeah.
So the two TV series that for me stood head and shoulders, three actually. Stephen, you mentioned The Boys, so I'm just gonna mention The Boys, but The Peacemaker and Sandman. Ironic
Mm.
that they both properties based on a comic book, but The Peacemaker I
Very
felt
ironic.
like owns its own space really, really well. I didn't feel like it doesn't feel like a comic book movie, if that makes sense. And I really loved Sandman. I thought Sandman was just pure class. Like they nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Cool.
What an incredible show. Wow.
I'm making lists, gents. I hope everyone
yeah.
listening to this is as well. If there's something highly recommended here that you haven't watched and you're feeling
it.
bored and lonely and want to spin something cool, GI Joburg recommends.
Hell yeah. And thankfully, sometimes we overlap and you won't actually have to add tons of stuff to your lists. So it'll actually be easier to actually get through our recommendations, because my favorite series of 2022 was also Sandman.
Oof,
It's a fantastic adaptation of the comic books. Like they just get the tone of the comic books. I mean, and just like who the characters are so well, and they've adapted the story to live action phenomenally well. Like it just feels like the comic books. Like you just need to like live in each episode. And I'm so glad they're going forward with it, and that it's going to be that they're going to continue to be able to adapt more of the source material into live action, because I think it's a fantastic way to get people into one of the best comic book series you could really ever read. And yeah, Sandman, the top show of the year.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, it just resonates with me. I mean, listen, it just hits you in the feels and in the right way, and it's clever. It's like it really messes with you emotionally in some ways. It's a cool film, a cool series.
Love it,
loved it. And
least favorite series, gentlemen.
Oh, that's easy. That's so easy.
Boba Fett.
You know what? I can forgive Book of Boba Fett, and I can actually forgive Halo, because those I actually got excited about new episodes coming out. But the show that actually upset me the most and that I've disliked the most this year has been Wednesday.
Controversial.
Fascinating.
I think it is a very bad take on the Addams Family. I don't like that. My major issue, I don't have a problem with the cast or any of that. I have a problem with the script writing, and I have a problem with the characterization of characters that I love and that are specific. You know, this is not like somebody. I don't feel like it should be. This is somebody's interpretation of the Addams Family. The Addamses are not self-aware. They do what they do. They're the Addams Family. Okay, it's what they are. They don't sit here and pontificate about like, oh, am I a good or a bad person? They don't worry about this shit. They don't worry about like being their children's upbringing, and to the sense of like, oh, I want you to be like the valedictorian of your school. I want you to head the spooky dancing people club. It's the biggest load of shit. And then they go and inject some kind of psychic ability crap. No, just no. Fuck off, Tim Burton. What the hell? You change your dealer, dude. Seriously, because this shit is insulting to anybody who loves the Addams Family. The Addamses are the best family you could ever have. I mean, they're fully accepting of their children. They're fully accepting of people. They're fully accepting of the way people treat them. Because they're just like, okay, well, this person is just, that's how that person is. Carry on, we got millions. We're weird.
Somebody sounds a little bit precious about their Addams Family.
I'm a little precious about Addams Family, because Soderbergh's films are amongst my favorite films ever created. I love Steven Soderbergh's Addams Family films, and I just feel like Wednesday just kind of does a piss take. It's like it's trying to be Sabrina, and it just feels derivative. So that was my absolute least favorite, worst TV series of the year. Thank you very much. Boom, mic drop.
Nice.
I don't think our vitriol is going to touch that. Like, I think Paul actually has a genuine reason to hate that show. It comes from an actual place of like love for the source material.
Hell yeah.
I was just thinking about it while washing the
Yeah.
dishes yesterday. That just getting back to Book of Boba Fett, if I may. The fact that like in future, people are going to have conversations saying like, oh, you know that episode of Mandalorian where he gets the darksaber and he's fighting that Mando dude on the bridge, and then he gets this cool like Nubian or Naboo starfighter.
Yes.
And he soups it up and he goes to that flight. Like, I can't find that episode. Which season is it? Which episode of Mandalorian is it? And like, that conversation is totally going to be had, and people are going to be having to correct themselves and say, actually, it wasn't in The Mandalorian. This was an episode inside that steaming pile of turd called The Book of Boba Fett, featuring the most uninspired, like least ruthless, most toothless version of Boba Fett you'll ever find.
Agreed.
Talk about trashing a character. It takes everything that was ever cool about Boba Fett and transplants it onto Mando. And what does that leave Boba Fett with? Nothing. So disinteresting. And you could tell that the writers were disinterested with him as well because they couldn't wait to hop onto Mandalorian story.
Yeah.
Let's get back to that cool guy.
Exactly.
Also, toys are not exactly flying off the shelves of I don't know. I feel you on that, Steve. Like I said, I enjoyed it, and it would have been my worst
the vintage
series.
collection 3 3/4-inch Boba Fett, like the one with the black tunic, is a very fine figure. It's a deluxe. It comes in a windowless box, which is unusual for a 3 3/4-inch figure. But like I said it before, Star Wars kind of gets a pass because they do very nice photography. It's got the classic like Star Wars bordering, and it's on the black cardboard. It looks a very handsome box. But I can't buy that because that's not my Boba, man. My Boba doesn't wear this black tunic, which, let's be honest, it's really just flattering because the actors,
that's
stacked
not
on
my
a few
Boba
kgs.
Fett. My backpack has jets. Yeah, I feel you, dude.
Anyway, I don't want to harp on it any longer. I did not like that. I suffered through it. It was a snooze fest. The supporting cast went from the underutilized to flat out embarrassing. There's like modded kids, the Power Rangers on their slow space mopeds. Gross. So bad. So many missteps. Yuck.
Yeah, that was very un-Star Wars. I would actually go
coming from someone who likes Andor.
Yeah, but I like Andor. Because I like I like the sort of fuck you to the man side of Andor, and that just speaks to me. That just speaks volumes to me, which is why I enjoy Andor so much. I love that sentiment of rebellion. I like that there aren't any space wizards in it. I love Jedi. Please don't get me wrong, but I love that it's. I don't know. It seems to fill that niche for me, which I dig. But guys, honestly, the most redeeming thing for me with Star Wars right now, aside from loving Andor as much as I have been, I also really love the Jedi Fallen Order video game with Cal Kestis. That is Star Wars.
Is that your favorite game of 2022?
It's technically not a 2022 game, and I've got better games to mention for this year, thankfully.
Rob's least favorite TV show?
So I tried to watch Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I got through the first. I think almost to the end of the first episode, and I was like, this doesn't feel like Tolkien to me. It doesn't feel like the other movies, which obviously were also adaptations, but it just felt stupid. Like the dialogue did not feel like it was dialogue that he would have written, and the characters just felt silly to me. I know what happens in the rest of the season, but I just can't be asked to watch it. I tried my best, and like I just don't have time. If a show doesn't grab me in that first episode, I'm not gonna waste my time. Even if you tell me 7 episodes in, it's gonna be absolutely amazing. You need all that build up to get to that point. I'm not gonna bother.
Boys, we are spoiled for choice and we're strapped for time.
That's the thing, there's just too much. There's too much stuff. and you really have to be so picky in what you watch.
And everything's
And
epic.
yeah, epic, you know. But like, if it's good, people will say it's good. I mean, there's some shows I haven't watched this year that I really do want to watch, that I'll watch next year. But yeah, I couldn't be bothered. I was just like, no, thank you. I
wanna
tried my
quickly
best.
Yeah.
I was just no. I know what happens in the rest of the season, so I know I'm not missing out on anything that would have appealed to me.
I want to lean into these comments quickly, Rob.
You're leaning.
I'm gonna Mark van Leeuwen. I agree with Paul. Gomez Adams feeling guilty about a murder. Come on, normally he would be proud. Exactly. Quote: Your cousin Balthazar, you were still a suspect. Gomez smiling. You see, and then also this. Steve just popped it up, and I'm gonna pop it up again. Mark van Leeuwen. Rings of Power sucked. Now, guys, Mark van Leeuwen is not that guy. He's not the kind of guy who's going to be like, oh, this is like crap. So that speaks volumes from Mark. So, Mark gets you, bro, dude. He gets you.
Well,
I don't even want to touch that film. I mean, that series. Like,
I can't be bothered. Like, really? I tried.
I saw the trailers and I was just like,
yeah, no thanks. No. So before Paul dives down his long road of video games, I'm going to say my favorite game is really the only game that I play these days is still Final Fantasy 14,
so rad, and you're kicking
the
ass
online
with it.
game. Absolutely, I'm slowly chipping away at more of the classes, the jobs, getting them to level 90, and yeah, there's always something to do. I still adore it. I'm still having a really good time with it, and I'm getting better at it too. 4 years on, I'm actually like. I'm like, wow, I can actually get better at this game if I just pay attention.
Don't you love that? I love that in a game.
Like, I think that's fantastic that you
level up. You know?
A game, yeah, that you level up and you still find something to do, and still something that kind of pulls you in, and you're like, I'm still playing this. That's cool. So Paul, what took you in this year?
So yeah, this has been like, for me, it's been a good year of gaming, but sadly for me, I haven't had as much time to play games as I would have liked. So really cool games this year for me have been Elden Ring. I really loved Elden Ring, but I'm sure it's like so many other people did as well. A bit of a strange departure for me. I mean, I like cars, but typically I like racing games that are arcadey and nuts and that allow you to do drift turns at like 240 kilometers an hour, like a la Need for Speed, Ridge Racer, and Midnight Club. But wow, GT, Gran Turismo 7, I've just been really hooked to that game, or hooked on that game. And, you know, so much so that I went and saved up and I got myself the steering wheel and the pedals for it. And I've been enjoying it. And it's great because I can take like 20 minutes here just to unwind, decompress, and just play some Gran Turismo. And that has been like my big game for the year. Like, I don't know if it's the best game or if I think it's the best game of the year, but it's definitely been a game I spent a lot of time on. A game that I really, really loved as well was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which is so cool. It's made by the same guys that did the Streets of Rage 4 title, .emu or .mu or .mu, however you want to say that. The Cowabunga collection has just been a sweet, sweet throwback to my childhood, but nostalgia always wins. It's just great to have that all in one complete package. And I have peppered the year a little bit with some Cyberpunk. I've been playing a little bit of Cyberpunk here and there. I still think that game is incredibly good. It's even better now. It's like it's a whole different game now, and it's so cool because the rest of the world is now copying onto how great this game actually is, because, you know, everybody was like a negative Nancy about it. But the jury is still out because I haven't yet played God of War. Ragnarok. I'm hoping to find one under my Christmas tree. But yeah, so that'll be quite cool, boy. So I'm excited about that. Well, I'm hopeful for that. If that doesn't happen, it's fine. I'll be able to pick one up for myself. That's exciting.
What is going to be under your Christmas tree, Paul?
I don't know. I don't know. That's
surprise.
Yeah, all surprises. I wanted it that way. I actually. I wasn't so much about like, I mean, Celia asked me for a list. I gave her like a list of things, but I'm like, you know, I've been more like concerned about getting her gifts and making everybody else, you know, trying to find cool stuff for everybody else.
Make everyone else feel nice. Oh.
Yeah, you know, it's that's the whole thing. So yeah, I don't know what to expect under the tree, which is exciting. And I did spoil
I
myself
got
a
to
little bit.
observe you. I got to observe you when you were in Cape Town, having like an inner child meltdown moment, which we all experience, I think, to some degree. You were in a toy shop and you were seeing things that you wanted, but like couldn't justifiably get yourself because I don't know, you guys were on a holiday and money was being diverted to holiday things.
Yeah.
But you were like annoyed that Cecilia wasn't by your side at that moment because you were like, she always asks me what I want for Christmas or my birthday, but she's never around when I'm in the fucking toy shop, like picking up things that I want. Like, just be here, woman. Just like just see. Yeah, I felt like we
Yeah.
could all relate to that moment. It's like, come on. Why do I have to put it on a list? Just be here right now. You're just around the corner. Just
Exactly.
look at the joy that comes across my face as I pick up this I don't know, He-Man thing or whatever.
Or whatever.
I'd like to at this point conspicuously say that none of your favorite toys of 2022 were He-Man.
But none of my least favorites were, so that's also good. They
That
were
is
in the
also
fun
good.
zone. They were in the fun zone.
He-Berg.
He-Berg. Guys, one more game I got to mention because I feel like you guys don't really get to play that many games, so I kind of feel like I'm allowed to just
You have to make up for that.
represent.
I can make up for it a little bit. Another really really awesome game that I played this year is called Sifu, and it's got a very cool
seafood.
Yeah, seafood. It's got a very cool like aesthetic. Like it goes for this like
You won't
kind
eat it, but you'll play with it.
exactly.
Touche.
It's very stylized. It's got a great like sort of stylized representation of it doesn't try to be realistic is what I'm trying to say, but the combat, the way the kung fu works, or should I say the way the martial art application works, is pretty realistic actually. And it's quite cool to see certain maneuvers and whatever that I also practice and drill a lot coming through that character. And I actually showed my Sifu that game, and he was like, "That's actually really impressive." That they did a lot of kung fu. He said normally, like, because he's got kids as well, and he's seen a lot of kung fu inverted commas in video games, and he's like, "Yeah, they'll do the stance, but they won't actually do a lot of the applications." But this actually has a lot of kung fu application. There's quite a bit of tiger in there as well, which is great to see because you never see tiger. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. But my word, it's tricky. It's a hard game, and sadly, I just haven't had the time to put in the hours this year on it. And I'm hoping I can get a few more gaps next year to do so. So that's also another cool one for your lists, guys. If you looking for a good game, all of you there in the listenerverse.
Right now, I want to hear about a favorite comment of 2022. And our man for that job is always going to be the lovely Scoopful. It's Rob. If you comment on our YouTube videos, Rob might just pluck your comment out for comment on a podcast. Hey. So, Rob, have you got a goodie for us?
Well, I mean, okay, the whole entire I think every single time someone comments on anything that we do, that they take a moment and they're like, cool, we listen to this, we watch this. Those are all my favorite comments. So every single comment is my absolute favorite comment of 2022. Like, I just love that people take the time to like interact with us or just say something like, hey, cool, I really enjoyed this. Or like, if only you'd known this fact, then this would have worked out better. Or, it's negative, positive, anything. I think it's fantastic. I think it's cool that people do take their time, because I know personally I never comment on anything. Like, I'll enjoy the thing and I'll be like, oh, interesting, oh, that's pretty cool. But I like that people do take the time.
Takes a certain kind of person to drop a comment, I must say.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
I'm just like you, Rob. So yeah, we like and appreciate, and we really, really enjoy the interaction.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And thank you, guys. Yeah, because I know how nerve-wracking it is. I hate commenting on other people's videos. I always feel like, I mean, I don't know about you guys. Yeah, I always worried I'm going to start a fight or say something stupid, or I don't know. I'm always like self-conscious about it. But yeah, but you guys don't have to worry about that on our stuff, because we get you. We hear you. So, yeah. And I see there's a topic on our agenda here.
Oh my goodness. What is it?
I'm just going to throw it in here. Doom, doom,
Is it a quick fire topic?
No, that's not a quick fire topic. It's your. I can't believe I'm going to say this.
What is
I feel like your fave
Yeah?
pornographic actress
of the year?
of the year. Apparently.
Interesting.
Right. GI
Just
Joburg
killed me.
in joke. You've just peeked behind the curtain of the sausage factory. You see all the sausages.
And of course, I know that I'm being set up. I know that
Paul
Stephen
obviously
has sort
took
of.
that seriously because
Yeah,
Paul's
I
got
know that
pictures
Steve set
ready.
this up as a
Assignment, Paul.
landmine.
Steven's seen the pictures that he uploaded. They are safe for YouTube.
Yeah.
So share with the class, Paul.
Oh no, dude! I just think the topic is funny. I honestly,
Well, look,
really.
someone using our shared GI Joburg YouTube account started clicking on this girl like playing golf in low-cut t-shirts in slow motion, and now
Oh, she's great though.
every time I open YouTube, they're like 3 just staring at me. That's 3 pairs
It's a
staring
gift
at
I guess
me.
that keeps on giving.
someone's trying to learn golf. I guess.
Totally on the coldest golf courses in the world.
And windiest too.
No,
Oh
guys,
god, we're
seriously,
such
like,
dogs.
how did we fall down?
Who's
this
watching those
hole?
videos?
Well, now I am, because I just can't look
I
away.
just thought you guys might appreciate that.
Thanks a bunch. Her name's Grace, I think. Yeah.
Excellent
Delightful.
golfer, by the way. Just want to put that out there.
Piece of
Actually,
shit.
Oh my god.
I mean, she's bringing people to the sport that never gave a shit in the first place, myself included.
Well, here's one lovely one. I don't think it needs much more response beyond being read out on air, but I love these kinds of comments. Sturm Dude says, I used to own an Eco Warrior Flint. Back in 2018 or so, I got depressed and sold a bunch of my stuff. The figure was one of them. His leg was loose, but recently I got some regrets for selling that stuff, even if they weren't my favorites. I bought another one, tight joints, and unlike the older one, I actually bought the accessories for him along with the stuff for DJ. Now I got to get Captain Gridiron, the Mega Marines clutch, and that's it. Mega Marines clutch 2. That's it. I need that stupid team back so that they can man the BF 2000 Sky Sweeper and Battle Bunker. I got those figures years ago. Who else can challenge the Mega Viper and 2002 Slice that are rolling around in my old beat-up Parasite?
Aw.
He goes on a bit, but I really, really dig comments that pluck a piece of nostalgia out and hold it up to the light. Like, those were the figures that he imprinted upon. They made no rhyme or reason manning that combination of vehicles and going up against that combination of foes. But to him, this made a subgroup. And now he needs to get the old band back together. I love that. Yeah. So thank you very much at Sturm Dude. It's weird. Like, YouTube no longer shows people's like usernames. It shows their ats. Their like Insta handle. Is it?
YouTube's weird.
Law unto themselves. But hey, that's
do
the
what they
playground
want.
we have to play on. Guys, I think this brings us to the conclusion of our very festive rundown of the best and worst of 2022.
Absolutely. There were a
I'd
lot
like
of
to throw
good
a
memories.
big thank you to the Berg Force as always.
Thank all of
As
them.
always, thank you guys.
I love them all too.
Thank you for a great year, another great year. And
Thanks to the burgeoning number of YouTube members as well who tune in for our weekly madness, be it play motion reviews or just behind the scenes stuff. Fun.
Yeah.
$3 a month gets you the basic tier, which gets you that a little bit more, and you can take a peek into the vault of unreleased stuff kicking around on my hard drive.
And also, like, worth mentioning,
Merch?
yeah, well, the merch is great. I mean, guys, you know the merch is there. If you want,
Perfect gift. Hey,
Hell
yeah, there we
a
go.
late Christmas gift, a
Boom.
New Year's present.
Early New Year's present. You know, you can't go wrong with the GI Joburg shirts. I really still want to get my hands on one of these that we're showing on the screen right now, because I really love that design, actually. So I'm very proud of that design. I am hoping to kick up some of the merch again next year. I've got some cool ideas.
2023, guys.
2023, and I'm going to say this now, and I know Asperger is like Paul's cricket ambassador now, but guys, I have got some big plans for the cricket. I've been speaking to the people at cricket quite a lot. I've been doing all kinds of mad experiments with this machine. There are some exciting things that I want to release next year for the Bergforce. They will require that in some cases they will require that you either get yourself a cricket machine or somebody who has one. It's actually a great Christmas gift for your significant other if they're into crafts and things like that, and then you can piggyback on that with some cool GI Joe stuff that I want to do. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, so it shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. And I've got guys like Joe Mauler and Mark van Leeuwen to thank for some of those ideas and for some of the execution on that. So I'm excited about that. Those will be templates that I'll start releasing out to the Bergforce Patreon members. And I just want to kind of rejig a few things there as well next year. So I'm excited about that. Also, we didn't mention it, but my favorite comic was the only comic I really properly enjoyed this year was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Is the
Versus Godzilla.
Ronin? No, the Ronin series is really good. Highly recommend it if you're a Turtles fan. I highly recommend it if you're not a Turtles fan. I think you'll just dig it. It's a great story, and you don't need excessive or extensive knowledge of the Ninja Turtles to enjoy it, which is awesome. It's brilliant writing. There was something else that I wanted to mention. A special thanks to Mark van Leeuwen. Sorry, his name's coming up a lot in the show, and it's just because he went out of his way and he made these two really awesome photo books that we thoroughly enjoyed.
He's made a third.
He's made a third. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got two of them. They're living here with me currently, and they are exquisite. And I really, really would like to make it a personal mission next year somehow to help other people get their hands on this. And of course, we have shot some amazing content for this, even if I do say so myself.
Have we
now? Because I am.
Where is it, Paul? Is it in your hard drive? Can you mail it to me? So
I can do so.
The lackey can start assembling it.
I will just hold on, Lucky, you boob. You assembling boob. No, I'll get to that. Sorry. I have been a little inundated with Christmas shopping and just chill out time and me trying to just
Paul takes his chill out time.
I love being inundated with chill out time.
As serious as he takes his work, he takes
so much
chill out time even more seriously.
I have been guys, I can't begin to explain to you how burnt out and fucked I was. Sorry, I'm swearing again. We need to put a disclaimer on this episode. But
we did the explicit marking on iTunes. But Paul, I'm going to preempt you and say, absolutely, burnout, my man, Deadly Pencils is spinning out of control. And as a result, bad news, sad news, but not permanent news by any stretch. We will be taking the month of January off. No podcasts for January. However, the channel wheels will still keep turning because we've got a fair number of projects waiting in the wings. And a little bit of catch-up time in January will make sure that those get sent out the door as sweetly and as quickly as possible. So the podcast will be on a brief hiatus, but we'll be back in Feb. But as I say, the wheels of content will continue to churn, and perhaps there will be some fun and exciting little releases that happen in the month of Jan. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay
to your favorite GI Joe podcast, or at least one of your top 5.
We never make that claim.
Top 100.
That's K-Hip's place.
We're the best one in Africa, at least.
Oh yeah, that. Cool.
We are that. Yeah.
Rob, any words before we point our feet out the door and go
I'm looking
along
forward
the street?
to 2023. I think it's going to be a really cool year. I think 2023 is going to be amazing. If 2022 is anything to go by, I think it's onwards and upwards. And I look forward to spending more time with you guys, digitally, physically.
Oof, that'll be so cool.
All over the place.
Over the place. Oh, I'm sorry, Zantara.
She says that it's another reason to hate January.
Well, I will definitely make sure that there's some cool things for the Bergforce in January at least. I have got some to it.
It's so cool. Yeah. He's absolutely the coolest. I hope everyone has a fantastic festive season. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. All the good stuff. Have a good New Year's.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa. If you whatever you do, just have a good time. Enjoy it for what it is. A good time to spend with your family and your loved ones, like Paul, Deadly Pencils, and Stephen. talk a lot.
Very good. Now I have approximately 50 minutes before my bedtime. Do I watch the final episode of Andor, or do I do anything else with my life?
Just go to bed 50 minutes early.
Like, no spoilers, but at least it's an action-packed episode.
I've come this far. I have to get the payoff.
You
And
might as
yeah,
well.
if it's an action-packed episode, then maybe it'll start feeling like Star Wars, which it, quite frankly, like Star Wars was all about pace and less about logic.
Yeah.
This has flipped things the other way, and I
Stop
don't know if it
thinking.
works.
I've got a
Just go
strange
with
crush
it.
on that weird blonde Imperial woman.
Oh, no
She's
wonder
got
Paul
great
likes the
teeth.
episode so much.
She does
No
have
wonder
great
he likes
teeth.
Andor so much. It's not even about
And
the story.
also looks good in uniform, which I know, Paul, you like a little bit of role reversal. You like to
I
kind of
love a
be
woman in uniform.
a woman in power.
empowering.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, get out of here, guys.
Happy Christmas.
Watch some more slow motion bikini girl playing golf.
Yes. Jingle bug, jingle bug, jingle all the way.
Here we
Bug,
go.
bug, bug.
With another year. We had so much fun.
Oh,
There's so much
gotta-
to say.
I've got to pump it just before we head out. And
Ooh.
Talking Joe did a Christmas special with potentially some bad karaoke from yours truly. Playing both the role of Falcon and Jinx. So smooching his own self, because my wife was too sick to record her vocals.
Ah,
May or may not be on the latest Talking Joe episode. I haven't heard it just yet, so maybe Mark was kind enough to leave it on the cutting room floor, but there'll be a lot of fun to be had anyways. Check out Talking Joe.
hell
Pump
yeah.
over.